The future King Charles Aya was born 75 years ago today at Buckingham Palace, marking the first time since 1862 that an heir to the British throne was born at the royal residence in London. Charles' arrival into the world on the evening of November 14, 1948 was greatly anticipated by both his parents, Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip, as well as the thousands of well-wishers who had gathered outside the palace gates eager for news. Princess Elizabeth had endured a very difficult 30 hours of labor before finally undergoing a caesarean section in a makeshift delivery room hastily set up in the Belgian suite of Buckingham Palace. It was the first time a future British monarch had been delivered via caesarean. Once the baby was safely delivered at 9:14 p.m., the news swiftly spread outside where crowds had waited for days in anticipation of the birth. A police inspector announced through cupped hands, "It's a prince," which was met by loud cheers erupting from the masses. Church bells rang out across London to mark the joyous occasion. Inside the palace, Prince Philip was utterly relieved and delighted after having spent Elizabeth's long labor anxiously playing squash and swimming laps to distract himself. When told the news, Philip, overjoyed, rushed to be by his wife's side, presenting her with a bouquet of red roses and carnations, her favorite flowers, as she awoke from the anesthesia. A bottle of champagne was also popped to celebrate the arrival of the heir. The little baby prince was described as a really splendid baby, with an interesting pair of hands for a baby that were relatively large but with long, elegant fingers. When asked by the press what he looked like, the typically blunt Prince Philip replied his son looked like a plum pudding. Queen Elizabeth held off on immediately revealing the name of the newborn prince. It took a month before the name Charles Philip Arthur George was announced to the public. In the weeks following the birth, Queen Elizabeth wrote to her music teacher about her impressions of the infant Charles, remarking on his large but well-formed hands and how it would be interesting to see how they developed as he grew. Charles was the first royal baby born in Buckingham Palace since the daughter of Queen Victoria's son Arthur in 1883. Traditionally, the British Home Secretary would be present to witness the arrival of an heir to the throne, but this practice was discarded for Charles' birth. Instead, only Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, and 2 doctors were present in the Belgian suite for the delivery. When Charles was about a month old, he was christened in the music room of Buckingham Palace in a ceremony presided over by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Geoffrey Fisher. His grandparents, King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, attended, along with other close family. Photographs show the royal baby dressed in an elaborate christening gown being held by his beaming mother and grandmother. For the first year of Charles' life, he resided with his parents at Windlesham Moor, a rented estate house in Surrey, located not far from Windsor Castle. Charles could be seen in photographs from the time period sitting in a playpen on the grounds or being lovingly cradled by Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip. When Charles was approaching 1 year old, the family moved to Clarence House in London, which would be Charles' official residence until he was 3 years old. Now, 75 years after his highly anticipated arrival into the world, Charles has ascended to the throne he was born to inherit. After the longest wait for a British heir to take the crown, Charles has become King Charles Ihu, following the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, on September 8, 2022 at the age of 96. King Charles is the oldest heir to ascend to the British throne, being 73 years old at the time of his accession. Charles' birth marked the continuation of the royal line and hope for the future of the monarchy, arriving just a few years after the tumult of World War II. 75 years later, Charles' own storied life has witnessed tremendous change in Britain and the world. His life's work as Prince of Wales has included extensive charitable works, most notably in environmentalism. Now his reign as monarch will be defined by how he helped steer and modernize the British Crown and Commonwealth in dramatically different times than the world into which he was born in 1948. His Royal Highness Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, who resides across the pond in Montecito, California, with his wife Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and their 2 young children, is expected to telephone his father, His Majesty King Charles II, to offer warm birthday wishes as the monarch celebrates his 75th birthday today. However, the Duke and his family will not be traveling to London to partake in the small celebratory gathering the King is hosting this evening at his residence of Clarence House. King Charles II's 75th birthday will be a working day for the monarch, marked by ceremonial gun salutes firing across London in his honor. Charles will use the occasion to launch a new initiative called the Coronation Food Project alongside his wife, Queen Consort Camilla. This project aims to build a bridge between excessive food waste and growing food insecurity and poverty. Last week, Prince Harry reignited his ongoing public feud with the royal family when he declared he has had no contact with Buckingham Palace regarding plans for King Charles II's 75th birthday celebrations. However, it now appears an olive branch will be extended from Montecito in the form of a phone call from Harry to Charles this afternoon or evening, given the substantial time difference between California and the United Kingdom. A source described as well-placed informed the BBC that Prince Harry would certainly want to call his father and wish him a happy birthday despite their strained relationship. While King Charles II is expected to celebrate reaching this milestone birthday in private this evening with close family and friends, the public celebrations began at noon today in central London. The King's Troop Royal Horse Artillery, named after Charles' grandfather King George I, fired a 41-gun salute from Green Park. This was followed an hour later by the Honourable Artillery Company, who fired a 62-gun salute from Tower Wharf at the Tower of London, with the additional 21 shots representing the City of London. Prince Harry's spokesperson denies allegations he snubbed an invitation to the small family gathering at Clarence House tonight, clarifying that there has been no contact regarding an invitation to His Majesty's upcoming birthday. However, Buckingham Palace has refused to discuss any specifics regarding the King's birthday plans and guest list. A source described as close to the Sussexes informed the Daily Mail that Harry and Meghan were unaware King Charles was even hosting a celebration until those plans were leaked to the Sunday Times. The paper claimed invitations had been extended to Harry, which were subsequently turned down by the Duke. The Sussex source suggested the information had been intentionally leaked to divert media attention away from criticism of King Charles II's recent official trip to Kenya alongside Queen Consort Camilla. During the visit, the King faced calls to formally apologize for Britain's colonial abuses in Kenya, so leaking the birthday snub story could act as a welcome distraction from that controversy, according to the Sussex Ally. In an effort to reduce tensions, Buckingham Palace circles have remained tight-lipped regarding anything to do with the Sussexes, and communication between King Charles and Prince Harry is said to be nearly non-existent at this point. Harry is also reportedly not speaking to his elder brother Prince William, heir to the throne, either. Today, King Charles II and Queen Consort Camilla will visit a surplus food distribution center just outside of London. There they will meet with staff and volunteers to learn about ways in which excess food waste can be redirected for societal good instead of being discarded. King Charles II will also host a reception at Buckingham Palace this evening, highlighting the work of nurses and midwives throughout the decades as part of the National Health Service's own 75th anniversary celebrations. Around 400 nurses and midwives will be guests of honor alongside the Chief Nursing Officer of England, Dame Ruth May, and Amanda Pritchard, Chief Executive of NHS England. Early birthday celebrations for the new king began on Monday, when Charles was guest of honor at a party held on the grounds of his countryside Highgrove House estate in Gloucestershire. Charles joined a group of community members also turning 75 this year, local leaders and representatives from organizations like the NHS, which are likewise marking 75 years in 2022. Famous faces in attendance included celebrity chef Raymond Blant, home restoration expert Jay Blades, and Imagination pop singer Lee John. His Royal Highness Prince Charles Philip Arthur George was born on November 14, 1948, at Buckingham Palace in London. After his birth, the first at the royal residence since 1886, his father Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, registered the birth nearby at Caxton Hall. Now at age 75, Charles has ascended to the British throne, following the death of his mother Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022, becoming King Charles II. Dear friend, If you like everything new about the royal family and don't want to miss all the novelties, subscribe to our channel and like it. By doing so, you take part in our development. We work for you.